hard boundaries. I have boundaries with love, right? I do. If you call me a Tuesday at 10 a.m., my phone is on do not disturb.
Hey, welcome to season 2, Talking with Tiffynee. I am super excited today. I have an amazing guest. I have watched this lady for the last past, I want to say, woman, about last past 2 years, I think, 2 or 3 years, um, and just like bloom. And really, what I was like, when I thought about having her as a guest in the show, I was like, look how she's conquered this industry. And that is the name of her company and everything. And so today's episode is about the power of self-conquering. And today I have the special Deb Lester. She is a Memphis native, now living in Dallas. Raise it up for Texas. And after spending years in corporate America, she decided to take on entrepreneurship. Like I said, I've been seeing her like climb and conquer, and has turned it in now to a full-time job and took it from a part-time hustle, and then now has just like took over. Deb is now a marketing and sales coach and the CEO of Conquer, and she is helping and inspiring Black women across the nation, and is one of the dopest online marketing coaches. Now, when I say this girl, I remember meeting her, and I was like, I was in her DMs. I was like, hey, girl. Da-da-da-da. And I just was like, she is so dope. So please give her a warm welcome and applause. Deb, my girl, Deb. Like,
That's so funny. That's so funny. Thank you so much, Tiffynee.
I'm so excited to have you on here, and you've been on my mind for a long time, and I love that God it put you in my spirit, and I'm glad you reached back to me because I've watched what you've done, and it's been amazing. So can you tell everybody a little bit about yourself, anything more than what I've spoke about you?
Yeah, you kind of summed it up. But of course, I'm Deb. I live in Dallas. Everybody knows I rep my home city, Memphis, all of the time. And I'm a wife. I'm not a mommy just yet. And I'm an extremely passionate leader for Black women who want to thrive on their own, especially in the space of entrepreneurship.
I love that. I love that.
Mhm.
Now, I because this was your company's name, I then took it a step forward. I am like definition queen. So I'm like, let me look this up. Right? And so I looked up conquer, and it says so the question would be, what is self-conquer? And so my definition was to successfully overcome a problem or weakness, overcome and take control of something. What is it to you, and why did you call your businesses? Because you've like made it, and it's pretty dope, and I got to get me some merch.
Yes. Thank you. Yep. Conquer. So, excuse me, I'm feeling a little sick today. So with Conquer, a lot of people, I told this story on live before. When I worked with a branding agency because I knew I wanted to like rebrand and make it something bigger. We built a business before we even came up with the name Conquer. We could not come up with a name. We knew who the target audience was. We knew my personality. Like we had put together offers. Like we had done so much, and they was like, "Okay, you're gonna need a logo and stuff, and we need a name." So I'm sitting on Zoom with my coach with my bonnet on. She got her PJs on, and she's just like pulling stuff out of me. And then she was like, I got it. She was like, you're teaching them how to conquer. You're teaching them how to take control because I had this motto of, yes, it's marketing and strategy that you need as a new entrepreneur, Black woman entrepreneur, but it's nothing without confidence. It's nothing without waking up and actively deciding to conquer in the midst of real life, like being a wife, for those that are moms, for those that deal with depression, anxiety, trying to fit in, people pleasers, women who lack boundaries, some everyday stuff that we're dealing with. But we're on Facebook and Instagram trying to, do this business. And I'm like, let's do it for real, and let's talk about the reality of it. And so that way, women are able to have these transformations once they're connected to my brand because we talking about the entirety of the journey.
I love that. And I love that you said that you want people to take it in, right? And so it's like if you don't believe in the word, if you don't believe that you can successfully take over something in the weakness of it, then I can't really help you because this is what my business stands for. So if you come into this, I need you to understand that we're about to take over some ish, and
Yep.
that's what it looks like. And I've watched you conquer. Like this has been an amazing thing to watch, and not many people pay attention to people in the beginning. And so it's like I've watched you go from selling
The
QR code
keychains.
keychains
Yes. Yeah.
to, and you were actually one of the reasons why the book is not near me. Of course it's not. Is that I put QR codes in the book. And so people could actually scan that and actually get to whatever they were needed to get to. And so you literally inspired that. And so, and I don't know if you knew that.
No, I don't think we ever talked about that.
Yeah. Matter of fact, let me grab it.
Okay.
So when you first start the book, and mind you, I'm the author of Sis Is It You. When you first start the book, one of the things I wanted people to do was to set themselves in a tone where they could actually understand, like get in a vibe. So there's a QR code to scan for a playlist.
I love that. That is so dope. I love the idea of you scanning it for a playlist while you actually go on to the next step.
Yes. And then at the end of every other chapter, there's another QR code for you just to scan to watch a video that aligns with that chapter. And so when I seen that and seen what you were doing, I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. You were putting on shirts and I was just like, wow. And then after I think we all did this vision board thing, I think you end up coming right up out of it. And it's funny because Habakkuk 2 and 2, write the vision down and make it clear. And you were on there talking about how you wanted to change and like get things going and stuff like that and make it bigger. And whoo, when I say you had something to chase after, glory to God. Hallelujah.
I know, right? Thank you so much. Yeah. It's just about being bold enough. Like you got to put your, like when they say you got to walk the walk and put your money where your mouth at, everybody talk about it, but you got to be bold enough to go get it. So.
Right. And you believed in yourself. And then one of the things I want to ask, and this wasn't even one of my questions, but I thought about this, was what was it like having a partner support you in that? Because a lot of we don't really talk about that.
Yeah, we don't. And so I have this conversation a lot with two of my really good friends. We all like, in a season where, going through the motions of entrepreneurship and we're all married, right? They have children and I don't. That's the only thing. Having my husband has been everything. I have a space where I can create, I can think. If we need to go to a city because somebody's hosting a brunch and they need me to speak, and it's for free, I'm not even getting paid yet. I'm just out here grinding. Like, it's like, let's go. What do we need to do? I remember my husband said two moments that were just like, I was like, oh, like you really rock with this. I just love you. Was the first time where like people like really start to notice me. And he said to me, he said, it's so cool. People finally starting to see you the way I've always seen you. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And the second one was the first time he heard me speak. Like he was like, I don't care what we have to do. You are gifted. Like, and his actions support that in our everyday life. This is the person that everybody get the live me, the makeup with the pictures and stuff. He gets the bun it off. I'm crying. I'm sick. I'm depressed. I'm trying to cook. I'm trying to clean and balance and have a social life. He gets the real me. And he still supports it more than a million people combined could. So
I love that.
And he's had to sacrifice too, you know what I'm saying? But of course, it's all worth it. He's an entrepreneur too. So well, he still works, but he's pursuing his entrepreneurship journey too. So we understand each other. Yeah.
I love that. And I think for me, I remember when I first met you, I knew you were anointed. And
Okay.
so I think we had actually, like, we were connecting and we was like, what,
Hmm.
girl? Like, wait, hold on a second, girl. You guys, we got the juice. So we need to be connected.
Yeah.
And I remember that. And so and me being a clinical sexologist and relationship coach, when I see that your partner actually sees that as well, people don't
Hmm.
know what true of a blessing that is. I also have a partner that is very much supportive of what I'm doing. And like you said, there's some things I'm doing for free, and he is just riding the wave with me. And them waves can be hit.
No, seriously. Right. Seriously. Yep.
And so I
Yep.
love that in the midst of you conquering this industry, that you also are conquering relationship. And I think that a lot of us don't give honor to that. And that this
Hmm.
is not just something that just happens, or just, it's something that two people have to believe in. And it's
Right.
something that you have to conquer, because relationships they can pull out the weakness in you and stuff
Oh,
like that.
yes.
And you have to
Yep.
successfully
Hmm.
make an effort and actually overcome it. So I love that. And thank you
Yes.
for sharing that.
Yes. Of course. I'll add to that. He's bold enough to say, hey, what's going on? He's bold enough to say, hey, you ain't been on live, or like he gonna check me with love, of course, but he supports me, but he's also like honest with me. I had him reading over something the other day, and he was like, yeah, it's good, but he was like, it could be better. You know what I'm saying? How about you have somebody work on this? He'll be like, see how much it costs, and let's do it. Like he's like let's go hard, Deb, quit playing, so
I
it's
love it.
cool, but he
I
don't play around with me.
That's the best. And I think, like you said, just to even have that in honesty in a relationship, because
Hmm.
it's true transparency. And that's the only way
Right,
you can grow in that. You know what I'm saying?
right.
And so if you're
Yeah.
lying to me, how can I grow in that if you're just trying to people please because you see I believe in something, you're like, okay, let me da 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 da, right? And even
Hmm.
you just saying, like, if you're not on live and he's like, hey, this is your job. Like,
Yeah, seriously. Right, right. Absolutely.
so I get that, because I remember I went on a fast from social media, and I had loved it. I think I
Hmm.
loved it too much. And my husband came,
Right.
he's like, hey, this your job. Like, you
You gotta get back on it.
gotta get back on it.
I know that's
So
me, honey. I'll be on off the couch for a week. He'll be like, hey, your audience gonna be looking for you, right? I'll be like, oh yeah. Yeah.
I love that. So going into my first question is, what has been your experience with self-conquering of your life now as an adult versus early years in your life?
Ooh, this is so good. I think earlier in my life, I've always known I was so special. Like, seriously. The only thing is, I had no control
Mm.
over what was happening to me. I had no control over the type of opportunities my parents could give me. I had no control over the type of schools that I could go to, the program. Like, I had no control over that. And so now as an adult, I was like, oh, it's just that thing where I talk to so many women and they know that they're created for more. They can't explain it. They don't know what to call it. They feel bad about it. They have guilt about it. They have shame about it. They run away from it. But like I always knew like there was something special about me. And once I became an adult, and in the season where I was like, you know what, let me really like pursue this. And something happened, of course, that triggered that. And now I just took control, or at least as best as I could, over my decisions, my everyday. Okay, when we waking up today, like Deb, like what are we doing? Like, and just started to take control over some areas of my life. And it's been a journey. But yeah, the power of waking up with a conscious decision to handle whatever comes your way the best you can. And maybe the best you can is just making it through the day, but just being conscious about, what you're deciding to do, think, invest in, engage with. Like it's life changing. It really is.
I can attest to that, because like you said, I've always known too, but then you have the enemy, and sometimes it's in
Hmm.
me. Sis, is it me?
No,
It's
seriously, right.
you
Hmm.
have that taking control and power over your thoughts. And I know, like the Bible says, take captive of your thoughts. And so it's
Hmm.
grabbing them out of the air and saying, this is not true. What is true about me?
Right.
And you even just saying being consciously aware of what you have, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
moving in that. And I think sometimes, like, I counsel a lot of women that are like, I know I'm made for more. I'm not just a mom. I'm not just a wife. And I'm like, you're not, but you have to figure out who that is and where that power lies. And I was going to ask you, what does having that power look like? Because I was talking about this in another podcast, and I said that when we were talking about virtue and its energy,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
I was saying when you are a superhero, you have this power, but usually in the superhero movie, that the power is usually not trained. So then you're trying to do all these things out of your realm, right? And then you
Oh,
have
that's
this
good.
villain that
Mm-hmm.
is trying to take the power, but when you take something that's not yours, you misuse it. So what
Mm-hmm.
has it been like to you to actually recognize this is mine,
Mm-hmm.
and that how do I exercise it, meaning how do I grow it to the capacity that I actually can control it and not misuse it?
Mm-hmm. That's so good. Um, my number one rule is I stick to my script. I stick to my script. I am so I'm so unmoved by a lot of things that other women do in my industry. I'm aware of my competition, like me and my team, we own it. You know what I'm saying? I stick to my script. My chapter one, cool. All right, this chapter two. Like, I'm not going on the unfortunate sea of comparison. And like, I'm truly trusting the journey. And I think that that was a big revelation for me. It was like, if you just trust it, like, I already know my end goal. I've like, God is giving it to me so clear. So it's like, bro, every day we're waking up, we just on the journey. And then I guess number two is just, man, crazy faith.
Yeah.
Like when you know that you're called for more, it is the opposition that can come, man. It can come knock you out.
Yes.
Like seriously. So just having faith to just trust yourself, trust the people around you. Like you just have to grab onto so many things for you to lift off, you know, in other people and yourself, the way you treat yourself, talk to yourself. That's something I struggle with every day. Like you just really gotta like have some crazy faith in that thing, whatever that is for you. You really do. They say faith of a mustard seed. So
Yeah. Yeah, you can't even
mhm.
see it. Like you're just like,
Yeah.
let me keep moving. One of the things I love that you said is that you are not moved. And there's this worship song that I listen to. I am not moved by what I see.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a hard thing for us women.
Yeah.
And I want to say not even just women, society, because you see the followers, you see the likes, you see the views, you see this person doing this. And I remember coming to a point in my life where I was talking to a colleague and they were like, we got to get you to 10,000 followers. We got to get you to 10,000 followers. And so that means I needed to go viral or something. And I remember God telling me, go look at TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook and calculate how many followers you have. 10,000
Mm-hmm.
total.
Mm.
And he said, it's the way you see things.
Right.
And I love that you said, I am not moved by
Mm-mm.
what I see.
Mm-mm.
Because it can take anything, like you said, opposition comes, and that sometimes it's just a colleague telling
Mm-hmm.
you that you need to do something, and it's not necessarily going with the chapters in your book that you already know. Like you, like I read the story, I know how this ends,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
and
I mm, I have trusted advisors. Like I consult with God and I have a coach. So if somebody called me and they like, oh man, such and such said like this the newest trending thing, you better hop on it. Like it's fat. Like I just let it roll off. And it's not because I'm stubborn and I can't learn anything, but I have my trusted advisors. I have my plan and I have to go so tunnel vision because that's gonna knock me off. And I'm the type, if I learn something new and I go down a rabbit hole, oh, whatever I was working on first, that's over with. You know what I'm saying? So I have to know those things about myself, be honest with, you know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
just like because then that leads to me being unproductive, and it's just so many other things. So, but you have to know what works for you, and it works for me. Like it's
Right.
hard. Like I'm just type of person. Like I'm a popular loner. Like just let me. I'm just doing my thing. I love people. Like I'm just doing my thing though. Like I don't.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I think one of the main points that you said in that was that you have to know yourself and know who you are. And I think that's the one thing about being able to conquer. If you can't address that you are the problem and that you do have weaknesses, then what can you overcome if you
Mm-hmm.
think that you do everything right? And so listening to you say that, even in my earlier years, it was constantly trying to, I've never been the person, I'm not a follower. So I'm like, that
Mm-hmm.
ain't me, whatever.
Right.
But I have gotten into spaces where it's like, oh, I'm a sexologist. Now I got to teach everybody about sex. And God's like, yo, 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 reel it in, bro. Reel it in.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And,
Mm-hmm.
and him showing me like, here's where you're at, and listening, because it says the steps of a righteous man are ordered. If he's already placed the steps in front of me,
Right.
then I need to just follow the steps and not be looking over here at Susan and looking over here at Tommy. But like you
Yep.
said, and so, girl, when I am not moved, okay? That's
Mm-hmm.
what
No,
that is your
seriously.
thing. I am not
Yep.
moved by what I see. Like
And
that
it's
is
nothing, there's nothing anybody could say. And I know that a lot of people are like afraid of negative feedback and stuff like that. I get it. I've experienced it. I know it's coming in greater form, whatever. It's nothing anybody could ever say to me to not tell me that this is not the most genius, creative, empowering thing on earth. And you just got to believe it about whatever you like. It's nothing nobody could tell me. I'll be like, I've seen it with my own eyes. I felt it in my own heart. I've had like there's nothing like you have to be so unmoved about that thing, even if it hurts. People
yes,
saying mean things about your dream, it hurts.
yeah,
Like you can't like that stuff hurts, you
yeah.
know. But again, you got to go back to your safe place. Who do you love? Who do you depend on? Who you trust? Go back to your faith and get back up and do it all over again. Got to
You are
be
absolutely
resilient.
right. You're absolutely right.
Mhm.
So that leads into my next question is when did you notice that you were being conquered versus being the conqueror? And what does that look
Mm.
like to be a
Mm-hmm.
self-conqueror in your life?
Yeah. That makes me think about the transitioning point where I really was like, I was doing it, but I wasn't doing it like full speed. And I think that it happened a time to me where it happened to a lot of us, which was during the pandemic. Me and my husband had this talk the other day. It was me, my husband, and my cousin, and we were talking. We were just kind of talking about the pandemic. And I said, y'all, the pandemic was so traumatic. And when I said that, they both got quiet and they were like, you're right. I said, it was traumatic. And I said, I don't even know if we still in the pandemic, out the pandemic, or whatever. Like, we just ain't wearing masks, but I know we can catch COVID, but kind of care, but kind of don't. Like, I don't know. But I said, bro, I said, think about it. During the pandemic, you could go on CNN and watch the bodies drop in real time, like a ticker. I said we couldn't do anything. I said it was so traumatic. And I said, and during that time, it impacted people in so many different ways. And I know for me and a lot of other people, it saw that our primary income was so disposable
Mm,
and that life was so precious and that we didn't have the time and world that we thought we had. And so I worked in HR. And of course, like many other companies, we had to make hard decisions and we had to do a massive layoff. So they sent me the email. They're like, all right, Deb, here's your stack of layoffs you got to do. And I sat in the room for hours and I laid off employees back to back, back to back. It was just to the point where I'm just having them sign, come in after that. And I walked out of that office that day and I said, I it it changed me. I said my family can never be in this position. Because the employees like these were, and of course I worked for an amazing company. This is just a decision obviously nobody wanted to make. Amazing company, amazing teammates. Like these people made good money. These people make no 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, $12 an hour. These people make great money. And I had grown men crying to me saying, what am I going to go home and tell my wife today?
mm,
I was HR. I knew about the weddings, the kids, the people that were sick, the people that were struggling in silence. I knew their real life. And so I started going hard that day and I haven't let up since then. But again, it was that going back to, hey, let me take control of this because again, I'm talking about it and I'm doing it, but I'm doing it so safely.
Mm,
You invest safely, you work safely, you kind of just, well, if it don't work out, I'll be okay.
right.
But I realized that, of course, if I want to be a big step, I had to be a big stepper. And of course, the effort that you put in, the return on it was just so great. Like, I just could never go back.
That is amazing. And even as you're telling me this story, it's like I hear that you had to be placed in a position where you could see others being conquered,
Mm-hmm.
and not being
Mm-hmm.
able to conquer things for themselves, and that sometimes it's also just being the person that's watching the movie
Mm-hmm.
and stuff and being like, oh my god, wait, this is what's happening, and recognizing like I now have the power, but I've always had it, because you said it, I've always
Mm-hmm.
had the
Oh
power,
yeah.
but it's God like putting that bigger light and like ding, and you're like, aha.
Yes. No. Seriously. Yeah.
Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying the show. Make sure you click the link below and pick up one of these Sis Is It You books. This book is some of the things that me and the ladies are talking about. It has a lot of helpful tools in this book. Don't get discouraged by the spine. It's not a journal, it's a book. It just allows you to flip it back and do things like this. So click the link below or Tiffynee.com, Tiffynee.com, and pick this up. Sis Is It You or sisisyou.com. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't even imagine how you felt in that. And just even you going through that, I commend you, because having to be also like the grim reaper of someone's
Oh yeah.
life, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? But then also, I hope that you recognize that you were also the person that was shooting the gun saying start the race.
Right. Right.
Because had not a lot of people, yes, the pandemic was very traumatic in lots of different ways, like you said, whether it's watching George Floyd's death on TV, recognizing like there were all these covered racists hiding, and now they're being revealed because,
Mm-hmm.
which I thought was a blessing, because I love things that are transparent instead of
Look.
like,
Okay. Right.
right.
Hidden.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like it also gave everybody, to remind them to stop living in the being conquered, and that it showed that you can conquer things, because we were
Mm-hmm.
all in routine. I remember that year I was gonna, hey, I'm going on this tour, I'm da 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 da, whatever, and I was connected to all these people, and God was like, I never told you to be connected to them, and you
Mm-hmm.
think that you can't do anything alone
Mm-hmm.
because everybody else has always, that's just been always your thing. And so the pandemic made me say like, I got to do this by myself. I have to
Ooh,
recognize
yes.
that
Yes.
it's you that gave me the power, and you didn't give everybody the same thing. And so if I don't
Mm-hmm.
recognize that, I'm cheating myself out of life, which I had been for years.
Right.
And so I think sometimes when something traumatic happens, though it hurts, growth comes so
Oh
well.
yeah. It's it's the it's the it's the law of the land. There is no way that you can like, if there's that much opposition, it's just like it's impossible for you to not launch from it, like to the point where me and my husband we say, all right, just hurry up and fail. When we get nervous about something, we be like, all right, hurry up and fail, because you know what's on the other side of this. And I would like, when something would happen, and even like, he's a DJ, so he's just like thriving, his first year being a DJ and stuff, and something happening, I do it to beat myself up. People like, it's okay, because that's how it's the
Yeah.
only way that now, okay, next time I go, I need this chord, bam, bam, bam. Like, that's the only way that you learn. And so when you just shift the perspective and like actively chase the learning, and you're like, okay, like the bump on the head, like it still hurts, but you just like, okay, we can be resilient from this. Like, it's
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
I
Mhm.
think that's what I love about your name of your business is that you have to be able to put on a pair of glasses to see the f ups, the failures,
Mhm.
right?
Oh
To
yeah.
be
Oh
to
yeah.
you even be, and even just you being that pair of glasses for people. I could just imagine what a meeting looks like. You're like, well, what did you do that
Oh,
didn't work?
I oh God, if you can make it through one-on-one coaching with me, we get so close. I've had women, the stuff that I've experienced in one-on-one sessions for women, this blows my mind. Like seriously. But we do start with vision, though. I will say that we start with vision. You got to be able to see this for yourself. It ain't nothing. We ain't nothing we can talk about. If you be like, really, I could do that. Like you gotta, you better go hang up with me and go believe in yourself and go to therapy, then come back. Because if
Right.
you don't believe in yourself, baby, that first L gonna knock you out. Like it's
Right.
gonna knock you out. And imagine how L number 438 feel like. You gotta believe in yourself. I'm telling you.
You are
Seriously.
absolutely right. When I hear you talk about you just even coaching, I look at you as guardrails because, like you
Hmm.
said, you start with vision, but I also see you as making sure that you stay within that because I know
Hmm.
like there are people that you're like, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, and then go takes it back to what you said. I stick to the script. And
Yes.
so once it's written, we don't go
Yep.
off. And
Yep.
so it's making sure that I keep you in that so you're able to conquer. Because I think sometimes when we try to take on something without knowing the full capacity or what we're about to come up against,
Yes.
you will literally sometimes either psych yourself out or overly do something that then you're not prepared. And like you
Hmm.
said, if you can't take that first L, we both know what failure looks like.
Oh yeah, absolutely right.
And so yeah, so you just even being, I think your company, what I love about your company's name is it represents so much.
Hmm.
And I think that's really important about when someone's doing something, when whatever their company says also represents who they are
Hmm.
and then what they actually give out, because I know there's some people that can say I'm iconic and then you don't create any other iconic people.
Yeah. Right.
So it's like a self-serving thing, but you
Right.
are saying I have conquered, and I can't remember the scripture, but it's something like God is talking to Jesus says, but yet take hold, I have conquered the world, I have overcome the world and stuff. So
Hmm.
if it's like if he already did it, you know that you are only set up to
Yeah.
do something like that. So that is just
Yeah.
amazing. What are 3 to 5 things that you would tell and share with the audience that could help them to be able to conquer things in their lives?
Mm. I would say the first one would be mm, mm. I would say the first one would be, even though it starts with self, you can't do it alone. This is a very lonely journey. When you start to see, I know this is gonna sound, people gonna be like, ugh. When you start to just see higher, like everyday stuff becomes just blah. You know what I'm saying? So you have to have people around you that truly understand the assignment. And I know we say that, and I know we tweet that, and I know we post it on Instagram, but that's extremely difficult.
It is.
It
It
really
is.
is. So, no, believing in yourself, but understanding that you can't do it alone. Man, it's so many things I could say. Two was like you just got to have a hustle out of this world. I know the whole soft life thing is cute, it's trending. I love it. Like I believe parts of my life are soft, right? But this is a hustle. Like it's a grind. If you want to be the best of the best, if you just want to launch it and talk about it and get likes about it all day, then okay, soft life entrepreneur, congrats to you. But for those of the people that want to get out there, they want to be dynamic, they want to make the money, they want to heal themselves, like they really want to go all in. It is like you have to be obsessed with it. Like you have to be obsessed with it. And I think the last thing is give yourself grace,
Mm,
because I beat myself up. I will do something and everybody will just be like, glowing stars, 10 out of 10, like the 10, 10, 10, 10. And I'm backstage like, why did I mess up when I was supposed to say 2 instead of 2? And it's just like, I'm gonna need for you to get serious.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna need for you to give yourself grace. I tell myself, I say, Deb, you've never been here before. You give your life circumstances like you could, like giving myself grace and being patient with myself, crying when I need to, resting when I need to, resting in other people when I need to, loving myself and going hard when I need to too, because it's nothing like going in on something and getting reward. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I
I
could go
think
into so much, but yeah,
no, I
definitely.
think those are great. So I want you just to and if you don't mind,
Hmm.
you said three powerful things, and I think those three powerful things people don't necessarily know what they look like.
Hmm.
So
Oh,
I'll
okay.
start
Yeah, let's get into it. Yep.
I'll start with number two first, because the other one, the first one, that's a deep
Hmm.
the grind and the
Hmm.
hustle, because I
Hmm.
sometimes we don't we I think people misinterpret that.
Hmm.
I think people think that they think something else, and I talk about this in my book, how you'll just attach a word to an experience or a thought or a belief that you have, and not really either the true definition or what it really is. What does the hustle and the grind look like for you?
It means me waking up and believing in this and doing something towards it every day. So that waking up and me doing something towards it could mean 8 hours of content, 2 hours of email marketing, or whatever. Or it could look like, hey, we're gonna send out 2 emails this morning that take care of something. The rest of the day is family day. But how am I waking up actively going after this goal? Because that's the only way it's gonna work. I gotta actively go after it. Nothing is gonna come to me. I'm not gonna get on TikTok tomorrow. And Oprah be like, oh my God, Deb Lester, the chosen one. Girl, I know you barely did work, but I see it right on you. Come on the show tomorrow. Let's blow your life up. First of all, that would never serve me. I would never be prepared for the gift because I did not work for it.
Mm. Mm.
I've got to do my work so that I understand that when the reward comes, I actually deserve it.
Yeah.
You go to a store and you don't get them no money, but they start bringing out some shoes. You're gonna be like, "God, what did I do? I don't deserve this." No, when I go up to the counter and they start bringing out stuff, I'm like, "Oh yeah, put that over there in the back. That's gonna go in the back. Y'all gonna take that back there. I deserve this."
Yeah.
So I receive differently. I love differently. I can bless differently. I can coach differently. I can pour differently. I can speak differently. Like work. I've done it. Bring home the reward. Okay.
Yes.
Too many of us are bound because we do not believe we deserve things.
Yeah.
Partly because of faith and partly because we just don't do the damn work.
Whew!
And two of those things just will not be my issue because I have control over them.
That is so powerful, because you're right. I remember after I wrote this, I got imposter syndrome.
Mhm.
And it was like, but it was also because I couldn't see what God was doing, because most healing happens inside before you see the outward
Mhm.
bound of it. And so there
Mhm.
were a lot of people that were like, Tiffynee, this book changed my life. But they weren't bold enough just to message me, because their life needed to actually start moving in a way that it looked different. And so
Mhm.
after you launch a book, nobody talks about this. You launch a book in July, and then you're like, by August, you're like, I should be a New York bestseller. And that's part of the problem that we
Mhm.
see with society, because that is happening. That's happening because you're an influencer, and within weeks, it's now a New York bestseller. And it's like, what did it actually transform in anyone? Did
Mhm.
anyone's marriage or anyone's life or anyone's self get better? And how can you see that in such a short amount of time? That's something
Mhm.
God had to teach me. So that
Mm,
was
that's
something that
good.
I had dealt with. And then it was
Mhm.
like that knocked off my grind for a moment. Because then when you don't believe in yourself, you stop doing
Mhm.
stuff because you're like, well, that
Oh
didn't
yeah.
work.
Oh yeah.
And so I
Mhm.
love that you're saying that you actually have to make a choice of how you get honest, because when I that hit me, I didn't market this book for like 3 months.
Mm. I
Mind you, I had
understand.
sold out 200 books, sold out, like and stuff like that. But because I couldn't see what was planted, I that knocked me out. That's why I asked you to explain what does the hustle and the grind look like, because there's a lot of things that you don't necessarily see the fruit of right away.
Oh yeah, right. Definitely.
Um,
It's one of those things where what's going on the inside is gonna reflect on the outside. That's just, that's how it is. So it happens, but we gotta make an active choice,
you're
like we
so
said.
right, and I
Mhm.
love that you said that. So then the third thing, because I said I'm going to get to the first thing last.
Oh yeah,
The third thing is you said give yourself grace.
yeah.
What does that look like to you? Because yes, when you do get off stage and you're like, why did I fumble my words? Why did I mention that? Or, and I didn't even practice that. And what
Yeah.
does that look like for
Yeah.
you?
Yeah. Man, it's tough. I'm not gonna lie, it's tough. Mm, It's tough. I've learned that I can be patient with myself and still win. I can mess up and still win. It's tough. I mean, it's twofold. I can look at those as opportunities, right? If I do mess up, I'll be like, dang, why didn't I think to send emails along with this? Like, I will have a moment where I beat, but I'm just like, okay, cool. We'll write that down for next time. Like, you're
Right.
okay. Like, nobody's dying. Like, you're okay. And then, the second part, just Deb, like it's okay. Like you really got to know how to talk to yourself. Like I was at an event and this girl was on stage and she was talking about self-love, and she said if your best friend came to you with the problems with stuff that you have, she said, would you respond to her the way that you respond to yourself
Mm.
sometimes? And I was like, no, I would tell her, baby, it's okay. You're fine. You're still pretty. You're still this. You're still that. Like, that's okay. That moment or mistake or whatever does not define you. So it's okay, you know. So, yeah,
I love
that
I
is
love
self
you
talk.
said that, because I tell people the reason why I did a show, mind you, I did a book, Sis Isn't You, so it's reflecting on self. Anytime someone puts the word self in front of a word, they minimize the word in front of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like when you put self, grace, you're like, I don't really get that much unmerited
Yeah.
mercy,
Oh, yeah. That's
you
good.
know? But if you put Tiffynee grace, you're like, girl, you deserve like da 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 da, right? And so
Yeah.
you'll give everybody, and I'm like, we don't recognize how much we diminish
Mm-hmm.
self, and we don't really actually give self the capacity to f
Yes.
up,
Yes.
to be great, because then like you said, we don't, when we're great, you only celebrate your successes for a second and you're like on to the next, like you can't even bask in anything.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
but we'll tell somebody else like, girl, it's your birthday all month, when it's not.
We're gonna go turn up all weekend. We got a 6-day itinerary for, you know what I'm saying? So
Right.
yeah.
No, I
Mm-hmm.
definitely get that. Now,
Mm-hmm.
moving to the last thing, because I think this is very important. I have
Mm-hmm.
a chapter in my book and it's called The Sifter, the Strong Community. And I didn't recognize that I had surrounded myself around a bunch of interesting people. I'll say that, where it's, you hear the saying, birds of a feather flock together. Well, if the flock is
Mm-hmm.
not always moving somewhere else, you're literally in that, whether you're great or not, because you should never be the greatest person in your flock.
Right.
And so,
Right.
as you said, you got to take care of self, but you have to make sure that people around you know your assignment. I know the first one is your husband, because that's
Oh
someone
yeah.
that has shown or whatever, but outside of that, how have
Mm-hmm.
you, because I know it also came with pruning, and God has been, that hurts.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
what does that look like for you with
Ooh.
building something that people continue to like? Here's what I can say is, my friend was talking to me and she was telling me, she said something to somebody and she was like, I stand on the shoulders of the people, to help me. And I said, and then God gave me a vision. And he was like, when I give somebody you shoulders to stand on, it's for you to be able to see what I have given you over that. And
Mm-hmm.
so, because the path is not necessarily clear, so you need someone to be taller or whatever. So what
Right.
does that look, how do you pick the shoulders that you stand on?
Ooh, this is tough. This is tough. Y'all, I'm gonna say that to every question. I'll be like, this is tough because it's tough. It's um I noticed that when I did not love myself, when I did not spend time with myself, when I was not productive, everything and everybody around me reflected that. However, Conquer got going. I start to see the fruit. There comes my discipline. There comes my lifestyle, which I know I'm still gonna party like I'm still gonna do it like, but there comes my beliefs. There comes my, oh well, God has an assignment now, so we can't post that anymore. So, and of course, everything and everybody around me reflects that.
Yeah.
So again, it's all internal. So now, one thing about me that my family, my friends know, I have hard boundaries. I have boundaries with love, right? I do. If you call me a Tuesday at 10 a.m., my phone is on do not disturb. Uh, and I will tell you, like, hey, during the week I work. So like I'll try to call you back in the evenings, or if you want to just come over your house this weekend, we can catch up then. Let's do that. I'll tell you that. But I'm on an assignment and I love you. And if it's, hey, you texting me 911, then of course we stopping what we're doing. But of course, you're not, it better, like,
Right.
you're doing the, what I'm saying, boy who cried wolf. But I'm telling you, you've got to be so unapologetic and bold about this thing. But sometimes that means putting this baby down because we just gonna spend time with hubby.
Right.
And that's just what it is. But at the end, that still serves, it still serves my marriage. That honors God, which therefore blesses me. Like, so it's still just a domino effect of having faith, loving yourself, understanding the assignment, and just trying to just go after, God's heart and your purpose. Like, and things around you will start to shift. Like, I looked up and I was like, dang. I realized, like, I was texting one of my friends, I'm like, this girl's like a multimillionaire. Not just about the money, but these are people who I have genuine relationships with, who are cool. Like, just on some cool stuff. You don't even look at them. Oh, is this person from Facebook? Like, these are just
Right.
regular everyday people in my life. And I was just like, thank you, God. Like, that don't mean I don't have people who make, 60. Like, these people are equally important, but I just like, I saw how what I was doing, how it affected like the outside, the environment, the people, the way people can be attached to me and be blessed. Like, that's, man, that stuff will set your soul on fire and have you unable to sleep at night. Like, seriously.
No, you're right. And I think when you go into this and you're being an entrepreneur, or anything that you believe in, I believe that God is going to make you set down a lot of things so your hands can be open to receive whatever He has for you. A lot of times you want to carry everything that you
Oh
have
yeah.
into
Mm-hmm.
something, and God's like, well, then how can I give you anything?
Yeah.
Um, and that's including friends, and that's
Mm-hmm.
including your surroundings. And so I love that you're saying that as you grew, you started to see the things that you couldn't be a part of as well either. And that was
Mm-hmm.
something that I had to recognize as well. Even just being a clinical sexologist, like everybody thinks, oh, sex, sex, sex. And there's like some things I can't be attached to because that's not the path God put me on.
Right.
And so that was hard to let people on the outside know. But it's also as you grow, things fall off.
Mm-hmm.
And as you expand, you're like, oh, you really weren't that my friend. You were just there because I was kick it Tiff. Now that
Mm-hmm.
I'm busy Tiff, or I'm writing a publication or a chapter in my book or whatever, is just like, and
Yeah.
understanding that. And then I think one of the things I want to make sure our audience understand is hard boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
We think that, and this is what I think where people get it most messed up is that you'll have it in your head, but yet you haven't set it outside for anybody else.
No.
And
Yeah.
boundaries have to be set. You can't just have an invisible gate that shocks
Right.
you.
You can't, I can't possibly, if I never answer the phone, I can't be mad if you be like, damn, like I can't even be mad at you. But if I
Right.
be like, hey boo, if you call me through the week, girl, I'm gonna call you back in the evenings, or just give me like a
Yes.
day or two, cause I'm sick. And my cousin, like, they know, like, I'm going on my cousin's house today. They know, like, they're gonna come outside like on the weekends, and when I do, I'm present. You know what I'm saying? We kicking it, like, but just like you have to do it with love. You can't do it in a way that's so selfish where you isolate yourself. But no, you got to be in grind mode. You the power of no. And I was once scared to say no person. I know, like scared to not answer the phone. They gonna think I think I'm big time now because I won't call them back or go hang out with them. I experienced those same feelings before.
Yeah.
It's real, and that
Yeah.
guilt will it'll consume you, and it'll make you lower back down those gates. Because I don't want people to think I'm being stuck up now because they see me on Facebook and people really like it. Like, you got to be obsessed with this thing. You got to know God told you to do it. Like, you know.
Yeah, no, you're
Mhm.
so right. And I think that's just so purposeful. So I think everybody that's watching, I want you to understand that hard boundaries, grace for yourself, making sure that you pick the right group of people and that you hustle and you grind and that you
Mhm.
know what is that you're actively making a choice
Mhm.
to decide what you're doing that day and what's going to move you forward.
Mhm.
Tell everybody how they can find you. I know you have it on your name tag, but is that on every social media platform? Is that it?
Yep, yep. You can look on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Conquer with Deb, and we'll pull right on up.
I love that. Deb, thank you so much for being a guest today and teaching people the power of self-conquering and what that looks like. I think I've learned a lot as well, and just being able to see things in another way. I really appreciate you, everyone. Thank you for joining. You can find me at Tiffynee Renee on all my websites, or Tiffynee Terry Thomas. Spell my name right, please. and and thank you for having us, Deb. We're just gonna pose at the end.
Yep.
Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying the show. Make sure you click the link below and pick up one of these Sis Is It You books. This book is some of the things that me and the ladies are talking about. It has a lot of helpful tools in this book. Don't get discouraged by the spine. It's not a journal, it's a book. It just allows you to flip it back and do things like this. So click the link below or Tiffynee.com, Tiffynee.com, and pick this up. Sis Is It You or sisisyou.com. Enjoy the rest of the show.